What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Stereotherapy. I'm your host, Lisa, and this is episode 127. Today in the show, we were joined by Jack The Underdog. I want to give a shout out to my friend Ryan, whether you know him as the Swemo guy, emo education, and all the socials. He is amazing. He's a friend of mine, and he helped set this up. He is the glue that got this going, and I cannot thank him enough for that. As you know, sometimes it's hard to get in touch with people. Sometimes social media makes it difficult. I want to thank Ryan out and give him that shout out again. We have such a great conversation with Jack, whether it's the early memories of falling in love with music, with all the work he does in his community in Nashville, which we learn all about how amazing Nashville is. We touch on his latest track, Black Hole, which is stuck in my head currently right now. It is in my head spinning somewhere, and it's just such a great summer anthem for all of us. We also touch on safe tracks, which is something I think you guys will really enjoy. If you enjoy our show, we talk about safe scenes. Jack walks the walk in terms of building a safe community, and I cannot thank him enough for all of his honesty. Here is our conversation with Jack the Underdog. But again, thank you so much for wanting to do this, because I remember, oh gosh, it was so long ago that I was like, Justine, I want to get Jack on the podcast. And then I think Instagram, like once you send one, if they don't respond, I'll like that.
I hate
Stuff
that
they
it does
do.
that because I'm so bad at checking my DMs. And so then it's like people can't reach me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like, it says, oh, you can't send another one. I'm like, okay, all right. And then when Ryan, who was
Mhm.
at was it the Swemo night, I think it was called, or whatever, I can't remember.
We were just in Detroit for the for my last tour, but there was
Yes.
also a Sleeping night before that maybe. Yeah.
So maybe that's what, and he was like, oh, I'm here. I'm like, oh my gosh, no pressure. But I know you're in the same room with Jack. If you could just say something, I don't even care if he says no. I respect the no. I understand it. And he was like, oh yeah. He's like, all right, I'm going to set this up. So like that whole time, I'm just glad we're here. It's so exciting.
Yes. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for asking me to be on the podcast. I
Oh
always
my
love doing
gosh.
stuff like this.
I even told Justine, I was like, whatever you're doing today, make sure you're here too, because we love all the guests. But I was like, this, I can just tell, like your aura, everything. I was like, this is going to be a good one.
So sweet. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just get into it. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Justine.
So we always really love to start conversations about getting into like what your first memories of falling in love with music are. And we know that you were taking like piano lessons and you
Mhm.
had school orchestra. Is that like one of your first memories, or do you have anything earlier than that?
So funny enough, there is a song that the song is gonna blank. I'm not gonna remember the title now, of course, that we're here, but there's a song that my parents showed me when I was a young kid. And I don't even really have memories of this moment, but they've told me the story a million times that this one song I latched onto, and I would always ask them to play the song. I think it's called Run Around, by one of those, I can't remember off the top of my head. But that was I've been told the story a million times that like I would go crazy for this song and I'd be singing and jumping around and dancing and pretend like I'm performing. And so that's kind of like a before I can even remember it, I fell in love with music. And then once I went to school, I was never athletic at all. I was never good at sports or anything like that. So when I found music, specifically, piano lessons, school orchestra, and then I moved into guitar, that's where I found my spot and my home with music. The first time I ever wrote a song, though, was I think I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I was on an airplane going to some vacation. I can't remember where. And I had just been reading the Goosebumps books. You guys know
Mhm.
Goosebumps?
Oh,
Oh
of
yeah.
course.
So
Mhm.
there's a book or a series there about Slappy the ventriloquist doll.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I wrote a song about Slappy the ventriloquist doll on this airplane when I was like 6 or 7 years old. So that's the first song I ever wrote. And I mean, ever since then, music is just something that's I've just gravitated towards so heavily. It's such a strong impact on me emotionally, physically, everything.
Oh, I love that. And I'm now that you said run around, I'm like, I'm wondering, was it the Blues Traveler or
I think
something,
so.
maybe?
Yeah.
Like,
Let me look at them really quick. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure it is.
I was like, what? Run around.
I
Then
know, I
I,
was
Yep,
trying to figure it
it
out.
is.
all
It
right,
is.
there we go. Like, that's
I
such a good,
remember the cover. As
there
soon
we
as
go.
I saw the cover,
Yep.
I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
that's it.
That's amazing, because
That's
otherwise
fun.
it was either that, or I was like, oh, was it that song and like Josie and the Pussycats where they're like run around when like I was like, all right, it's got to be one of the two. Either way,
Yep.
you're good. You're good with that. Oh, that's so like I appreciate anyone that can play piano or any instrument, because I've tried and it just didn't click with me. And maybe I
Hmm.
didn't have the right teacher, or I didn't have any teacher, to be honest. It was like
Yeah.
figure it out. So I think that watching kids like I was a nanny and they would go to piano, and just the
Hmm.
discipline and them learning it, and I was just like, that just is so incredible how you can sit down, they can play a song, they can connect with music in that way.
Hmm.
And because us, we're the listener. So like we connect that way. And I love, that's why we always love to ask that question because we love to hear how you connected with music. And that's just so cool. Piano is one of those I always want to play. But
Hmm.
like again, I tried when they would be at lessons. I'm like, I can't get it. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it
Yep.
out.
Well, even though piano was the first instrument I started to learn, it's
Yeah.
probably the one that I'm the worst at. I went from piano right into the orchestra, and I loved playing cello. I played cello in orchestra. I love that so much more that just kind of like took me away from piano. So I can
Right.
still play it. I could definitely play stuff by ear. I got Don't Stop Believin', Lockdown, but apart from that, yeah, it's funny that I started with piano, but I've kind of moved away from it a bit.
That's another thing I love to like doing a little bit of research too. You're originally from like Minnesota.
Mhm.
So then, much like I'm originally from Illinois, now New
Love it.
Jersey. Justine is now, you're like in the southern Illinois, right? Or near Missouri.
Yeah,
I
I'm like
never get it
I'm
right.
like right on the border. I'm like right next to St. Louis, but I'm on
Awesome.
Illinois, so
Love it.
Yeah. So it's like, I know what that's like too, from moving from the Midwest to
Mhm.
somewhere new. And I know music kind of took you to Nashville, which is wild because I feel like over the last few years, Nashville has been like the spot. People,
Mhm.
they want to talk about New York and LA and they still, but people going to Nashville. What has been so special about Nashville to you?
So when I moved to Nashville when I was 18 years old back in 2015, 10 years ago now at this point.
Wow.
And my dad's actually the one that kind of talked to me about Nashville. I was kind of like, I'm in the
Right.
north. I don't want to move to the south. Like I had all these preconceived notions about all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then I came down here, I went to Belmont University for songwriting, music business, and then I minored in social justice. That kind of a long arc goes into what I'm doing now. But
Yeah.
when I visited here, I saw the community and I saw the culture and I loved it so much. I don't Nashville people live in Nashville do not love Broadway. It's not where we go. It's not where we have fun. But when I visited Nashville, I was able to see that and just see how much live music there really was everywhere. And I was also able to see that there's many different pockets of genres and communities here in Nashville. You think because we're in Tennessee, it's all country music, and that's just
Hmm.
not the case, right? Broadway is probably mostly country music, but then beyond that, like Nashville has such a big hub of alternative artists, rock artists, punk artists, all of that kind of stuff. So I guess when I saw that diversity and I saw the community, I was like, this is the spot for me. I felt like I was just surrounded by just creativity and it just was a very inspiring place to be.
Oh, I love that. I know in Belmont, that was on my like list of schools when I wanted to do like music business. I ended up going into like Columbia College of Chicago for a little
Mhm.
bit, but Belmont was just like, wow, I want to go. Like everybody talks about it. It's like I
Mhm.
would be so inspired and much like that was earlier than I think when a lot of people started talking about Nashville and like
Mhm.
that it wasn't just country music. Because even I had that in my head. Do I
Yep.
really want to just be surrounded? And there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with it. I don't want anyone to take me the wrong way. It just
Yep.
I haven't found the country music that I'm like, okay,
Yep.
I like that. That's for
Yep.
me. So, like, that's always so interesting to talk to someone that's actually there instead of us being like, hey, this is
Yeah.
what it is. And I see it though. Like, whether I
Mhm.
hear other artists on or they talk about Nashville, it's like, yeah, I think I need to visit there and
Yes.
see what it's all about because I've always wanted to go there.
It's such a fun spot. And yeah, you don't even need to hit the touristy. Go to Broadway during the day. Don't go at night. Like go on a not weekend. But Nashville has so many gems and it's genuinely beautiful too. People don't always realize like we're not that far from mountains and we're not that
Right.
far from amazing hiking trails. And there's just so much great like, I don't know, environment and people here in Nashville.
Yeah, it seems that like so if someone to like what would be like your go-to venue to go see someone play or even for yourself to play?
So I really like Exit In here in
Mhm.
Nashville. Are you saying in Nashville specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Exit In. I've played there a few times. I love Cannery Hall. I've played there a few times as well.
Mhm.
There's so many great ones down here. Those are probably two of my favorite. But venue that I have a special place in my heart for is called The Underdog. So it
Mhm.
matches with me. And
Yeah.
it was where I put out my first EP as Jack The Underdog back in 2021, I think, maybe. So it was cool. The people that own that bar are actually also from Minnesota. So it was
Oh,
wild how
cool.
many like parallels and connections there were there. And it's very funny how many people that you'll meet down here that actually are from the Midwest specifically. There's there's a ton of people down here. A lot of people transplant from up there, more
Mhm.
opportunities for music and stuff like that.
Again, because back in the day, like it always was like, okay, you have to go to New York or LA. And I love to
Mhm.
see and have people hear that, like, you don't necessarily have to do that. And people we have on this
Hmm.
podcast, I've had people from like Arizona, I've had
Hmm.
people from even Texas, again, like the South, and our like my preconceived notions of like what the South is, and hearing like, oh, wow, there's scenes there. Like, I think I love to hear it. Like, again, Justine, I could go on about Nashville and like how I need to go visit and I want to go visit. And it's so great.
Absolutely. I co-sign it.
A part of our podcast has to do with the intersection of music and mental health. And we'd love to hear about how creating music helps aid your mental health.
Absolutely. So that's a really big part of who I am and what my artist project is like. I chose the name Jack the Underdog because I wanted to kind of be a voice for the underdogs of society, people that are marginalized, anything like that. And growing up as, an alt kid in, a school that, there weren't a ton of people like me, I was kind of the outsider.
Mhm.
Music is really what grounded me and really saved me and made me who I am. I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't like the music I like now if it wasn't for those formative years before, when I was, finding these artists like Sleeping with Sirens or A Day to
Mhm.
Remember or any of those, scene artists.
Yeah.
And so a big part of what I wanted to do with my music was to kind of give back to the community that I benefited from.
Mhm.
So my music, I want people to feel a little bit less alone. I want them to feel like they have a community, that they have a friend, that they matter. A really big part of my messaging is you matter.
Mhm.
You are the only you, and that's really special. And so really I just kind of try to write songs about my own experiences with it. Some of my songs are really sad, but that can help people kind of relate to and know that they're not alone in something that they're going through. So that's a big anchor for the songs that I'm writing. And overall, I think I just want my music to kind of allow people to feel like they can be themselves and that they're accepted. That's a really, really important thing for me.
And that's one of the things like I loved about you, and like over the last, year or probably even more, like following you. I'm like, when did I follow you? But I think for me, seeing that, I'm like, that's what my younger self kind of needed to see, and
Mm-hmm.
that hear that messages. Even me in my 30s now, I need to hear that too, because
Exactly.
even
Yeah.
doing this podcast, sometimes you doubt yourself. It's the whole imposter syndrome, or it's like
Mm-hmm.
you look and it's the numbers game where it's like,
Yep.
oh well, I have great conversations. I want to have them, but because I don't have the following this, I'm looked at
Yep.
this, and it's hard. And I love that like people that I don't even want to call them followers of yours, but almost like community members, like
Mm-hmm.
your community you're building. It's such a beautiful thing, and I'm glad that people, whether you're younger, they're in their 30s like me, they can relate to that because it's so real.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, really important to me just to, allow people to feel like they're welcome and that they don't have to change, that they're special.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, too, some of the things you want to change are the best things about you. Like,
Hmm.
like, I used to always get told, too, oh, you talk too much. Elisa talks too much about music. She talks too much. And naturally, here I am with a podcast, probably like someone out there is. But that thing that people said that in a negative way, it's the most positive thing right now in my life. So
Hmm.
it's like you have to get that. And I love, yeah, I just love what you represent.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
One of the things too you do to further that is I want to talk about safe tracks because
Hmm.
you do something so incredible. We've had an episode about safe scenes, and I was on
Hmm.
another podcast talking about it. I think it's something so just needed and it's real that goes on in the industry and even
Hmm.
outside. But so I kind of want to give you the floor a little bit to talk about what safe tracks is.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I had a few internships. COVID hit. Everyone's
Mhm.
internship got dissolved pretty much.
Yeah.
Because they were like, you can't go in to do your internship. There's no way to do this. Okay. The requirement's over. When that happened, one of the two internships I had, it was with a country music duo called Haley and Michaels. Originally, I was doing more social media work for them, and then once all the COVID happened and everything kind of stopped, they shifted the internship from social media marketing to more nonprofit and social justice work.
Hmm.
And so they basically told everyone, like, you can be a part of this if you want, but your internship is dissolved regardless. You can leave if you want. So me and another guy stayed on the team, and we kind of did work together to create what we wanted to have as a resource for artists as well as a prevention method. That idea went through so many different variations. It was a hotline at first, then we realized that was already something that was here, so we didn't need to double that. So we just kind of like went through all these different opportunities, and we found through Ryan the Michael part of Haley and Michael, we found the SAC here in Nashville, and that's the Sexual Assault Center.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went through some of their trainings. They have a program called Safe Bar, which is very similar to what we were trying to do, but for bars and alcohol serving establishments and restaurants. So we kind of took the extra time that we had from COVID, and we started going to the trainings and developing safe tracks. And so we based it off of the very similar programming as Safe Bar, but we shifted all of those specifics for the music industry, and we shifted the examples and the goals of those things to be more specific to professionals as well as freelancers and people that are kind of just like even just a listener. So that's kind of a long-winded way to get us started, but
Yeah.
that is where Safe Tracks was born. And so it is a bystander intervention, primary prevention-based educational training program. I know it's a lot of words. And the whole goal is just to prevent sexual harassment and sexual violence from even happening in the first place, specifically within music industry spaces. So once we created that program, we brought it to the SAC. They loved it. They had the open position for Safe Bar. They basically tacked Safe Tracks onto Safe Bar and then hired me in. So I've been with SAC since August of 2021 now. And I've been training bars and music industry professionals and establishments to stop that from happening in the first place. And it's something that's really near and dear to my heart. I feel very close to it because I helped create the Safe Tracks program. But just going to Belmont and being in the music industry and making social media content, we see the problem every single day, whether it's catcalling in the street or it's a homophobic slur on someone's Instagram reel or whatever it is. We see the problem every single day. And so having experienced it myself, having seen my friends go through it, and having people have opportunities taken away from them because of things like that really is what empowered me to kind of step up and kind of make this program what it is and get into the community. We knew that there were things like the hotline that I mentioned, but the one thing that was missing was a bystander intervention program specifically for the music industry.
That's it's just incredible because like you said, like I posted, we had a episode for Pride and I was really excited about it because we didn't touch on the mental health and I was like, oh, it's Pride Month. I want to do this. I want to for the community. And already my guest was talking about what members of the LGBTQ plus like community go through. And within a day, there was sure enough a comment there where I was like, okay, I'm going to report it because and get rid of it. But at the same time, of course, TikTok, they don't do anything about that, which that's a whole other story and what I go through. But yeah, I saw it literally not 2 weeks ago but still like it's so recent where why is this going on? I know it's a pipe dream to say it'll never happen, but I love to hear that you're speaking up and using your voice and able to do that because I know firsthand if I speak up about certain people in the industry that I've seen as a woman, it's like you're sometimes blacklisted or no one wants to, you're the problem or you're this. And there are certain people that I've spoke out about. They're like the PR agencies for podcasts that I'm like, you're not really, no, I'm not going to do that. And of course, things stop. And it's like, but I always want to speak up, but you face so many things and how we get better is a community and things like Safe Tracks.
Absolutely. And even just being an LGBT person, sometimes making content and that has a rainbow flag in it or something is enough to make someone unfollow me. And so I'll see on certain days, I lost 30 followers on this day. And I can go back to the post and I see, okay, it was an LGBT post. Clearly, that's probably why they unfollowed me. But I try not to let that matter to me because at the end of the day, I don't want those people in my community. You guys aren't safe to be here because my people aren't safe if you're here. So I don't think that I would never allow that idea to stop me from being me and speaking my truth because at the end of the day, the people that matter, the people that are really a part of the community are the ones that stick around. The people that, they're haters of they're going to be homophobic or they're going to be sexist or whatever it is. Like, I don't want you all here. Y'all can leave, right? This is for our safe space of underdogs, right?
Yeah, and I love that because it's like everyone in our lives, like we've always felt like the underdog. We always have felt like that. And I think it's so great to create those safe spaces because Justine and I early on, our current administration and things like that going on, I always spoke up. And at first some people are like, oh, don't do that because your podcast is your podcast, separate it. And I was like, no, like much like you said, I want people to know that this is a safe space and I want to be that for you and know that the people you're following, like even if it's just our little podcast, you're following it, it's a safe space. You are safe here. You can be, I am not, I want you to know that. And again, I've had the same thing. like unfollows, this and that. But again, I don't, then you're not welcome here. If we are here to create that community, we're not here to have the most followers.
Completely
It's
agree.
not. So
100%.
yeah. And I think Safe Tracks is just so important because we've all either seen it, been a part of it, and, or, there are some people that have had to be quiet because they're worried about their job. And I think it's, and that's
Yep.
so
They have to worry about tips or their job or their
Mhm.
connections or anything like that. And it really shouldn't be that way. It's very sad that the culture is what produces that. And so we want to start at the low level and change culture one by one, because then that makes, a new ally. That person can go in and can stop that sexist comment, or that person can
Mhm.
go in and support that trans person that works with them.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're on the same page 100%. And if
Yeah.
y'all would ever love to do a training, I can always offer those trainings. They're 100%
Yeah.
free. We can make that happen
Oh,
later.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I would
That would be
love that.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like when we did our safe scene episode and then I went on this other podcast, Emo Kids Anonymous.
Cool.
I love their name, but like Rob
That's
and
so
Amanda are
cool.
amazing and they had me in their show to talk about the safe scenes as
Hmm.
well.
Mhm.
And it was just wow. And each episode, each conversation we have, everybody does. They want to do something and they want to think about what to say. And I used to say, like with Rob, and he's great, but it's different if he speaks up in a way as a man
Mhm.
than when I
Yeah.
speak up. There's a
Hmm.
different dynamic there. So I think things like you said, yeah, we would totally want to do a training and be able
Perfect.
to be that change and keep doing that and educate ourselves. Because as much as we sit on here and talk about it and see certain things and have seen certain things in the music
Mhm.
world and stuff, it's like, sign us up. Yeah, we will be talking
Yeah,
about
Perfect.
that. But oh my
absolutely.
gosh.
Like,
Love it.
you have been making sure to post every once in a while, like things that don't, if you're like trying not to be sad today, and you're
Hmm.
kind of giving like little good news updates.
Hmm.
And I was curious, like, what made you think that it was a good idea to do that? What makes you want to do that? And it's something I wish more people would do,
I wanted it to
honestly.
become a whole trend, right? How cool
Yeah.
would it be
Yeah.
if like influencers started using that idea to do stuff like that, right? Thank you for the kind words, first of all. But I had the idea originally because it's something that I needed.
Yeah.
I needed reasons to not be sad today. So I was
Yeah.
kind of looking into it, and then I was thinking, as any artist does, we have to think of social media all the time. And I started thinking, wait, this might be a series, right? This could be something
Yeah.
cool. So I posted the first one and it did really, really well. So I immediately was like, okay, cool. And I kept getting so many comments on the post that were like, I really needed this today. Thank you.
Yes.
Like, this
Yeah.
brought a smile to my face. Like, this made my day better. And that kind of stuff, like, I get like goosebumps thinking about it, because that's exactly why I exist in my music and why Jack the Underdog exists, to cause people to feel like they are a little bit happier, a little bit safer, a part of that community. So once I saw the impact that not only it was having on my own mental health, but also that people online were really connecting with it, I was like, this needs to just become a thing that I just do. So I've been trying to do it at least once a week. And the most recent one I did, I tried to make it very wholesome. So I didn't have any like political stuff. I was just like, here's the wholesome version.
Yeah.
Many times though, I'll have a political one where it's just like,
Of course.
LOL, L's being thrown out here or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And so it's really been something that's been great for, I mean, like we've been saying this whole time so far, building up that community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It really helps people feel like they're a part of something, and it helps them feel like, okay, not all hope is lost. Even though things
Yeah.
really kind of suck right now,
Mhm.
there are still good things to look forward to.
Yeah, I try to remind people all the time because I'm very engaged with political spaces,
Same.
stuff online,
Mhm.
Yep.
which it can be very draining, can be very upsetting. But I constantly try to tell everybody because everybody keeps getting in those doomerism
Hmm.
type of mentalities with everything going on. And I had to remind them, like, that's what this administration is aiming to do.
Hmm.
Because when people get stuck in doomerism, you don't do anything
Hmm.
and you can't fight. And so the best thing you can do is have hope and
Yep.
joy. And the more that you're able to engage with that, and then you keep showing that you have it, like you're defeating them.
Hmm.
And it's so important to have those happy little bits of joy and moments that can kind of take you out of it to help you keep going.
I completely agree. I remember like, right after the election happened, I had some like wallowing posts, like, sad
Yeah.
posts, whatever.
Yeah.
And I had all of these people coming in and like crying laughing faces emojis and
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
LOL, you lost, LOL,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I realized that's literally exactly what they want us to do. They want
Yeah.
us to be
They
sad.
feed
They
off
want
of
us
it.
to feel
Hmm.
doom. They want us to do all of that. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give them what they want.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my people what I want and what they want. Right.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree 100% with that.
Yeah, those and
Yeah.
just like you said, like, oh, I needed that. There's been so many of those posts where I'm like, when I've seen them, yeah, I needed that. Because again,
Mhm.
like I was that person. Like, I'll be honest, anyone to you. Like, the day after the election, I cried. I cried
Hmm.
at
Mhm.
work. I
Yeah.
just would go into, and it wasn't even, I wasn't even thinking of necessarily of myself in that moment. It was like anyone else, any of the
Yep.
marginalized groups,
Mhm.
because, yes, as a woman, there are things in this administration, but I just thought head on, that's who I'm worried about. That's
Hmm.
why I wanted to be a certain way and make sure I voted a certain way. And it
Hmm.
wasn't even thinking that. It was just like, and I had to come to grips with my own mental health of like, okay, why I know I'm feeling this way. It's okay to feel this way. But then
Hmm.
I would get mad, like, why don't other people care about other people? I don't understand. We want to be a
Hmm.
community. Why won't we just care? And I think to see things that, things not to be sad about and things to be just happy about. It's sometimes you don't think about those good things. You overlook them because,
Mhm.
Hmm.
again, like
Yeah.
what gets the headlines
Yep.
at the end of the day. So
Exactly.
it's like things like that. I remember there's a couple of posts I would show to Justine. I'm like, look at
Mhm.
this, see this, or vice versa. She would send to
Yeah.
me and I'm like, I've already seen it. I've
Mhm.
already liked it. Don't worry. Like we're on the same page,
Yeah.
girl. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We've got it. And I think
Mhm.
it's so, you know, what do you do for your own mental health? I mean, obviously we talked about music is a great
Hmm.
outlet, but is there anything else in those moments you do for your mental health?
I'm a big advocate of therapy.
Hmm.
Therapy is so helpful. I think anyone that needs a resource like that should never feel ashamed to access something like that. I know some people really do.
Hmm.
I also have a dietitian too. I have an eating disorder called ARFID, and so that's also kind of like plays into my mental health. And so I have like a little team of people. So between therapy, dietitian, writing music, and then really having that community is so important. Like we're not just building one online. I'm trying to build that in real life, and not
Hmm.
just as Jack the Underdog, but just also as Jack, right? With
Hmm.
with Jack's friends, right?
Hmm.
And so really I try not to set myself into the doom scroll,
Mhm.
gloomy, end of the world as much as easy as it is to go into that. I try to keep
Yes.
myself from
Mhm.
there and, make sure I'm spending time with people that matter to me, right?
Hmm.
I have a kitty cat right here. His name is Johnny Cash.
Oh my
He's my
My
gosh.
baby.
gosh.
I also have a guinea pig named Scooby Doo, so I hang out with those two all the
Oh,
time. That helps my mental health quite a bit.
Mhm.
They're my babies. John's 5 now, and Scooby's 8, so
oh my
they've
Oh
been in my
gosh.
gosh.
life for a while. So that's another very I would say that's the strongest drug for my mental
Mhm.
health. Is
Hmm.
those two.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, no, uh, like Justine's got her cats and dog, but me,
Mhm.
I don't have pets yet, but like I feed my little squirrels outside in
You
the
kind
squirrel
of
Yep.
do.
cage. So
You have
like
your
they're
squirrels.
kind of my pets. They come
I
Those
to
are
the
your
love that.
pets.
door. And
Mhm.
people don't think like animals are so huge. They are just
Yep.
such
Mhm.
a huge mental health. Just they are just like yeah, I
Yep.
could go
And
on
they
about
can like
animals.
read. I swear he can read my emotions because if
Yeah.
I'm sad, he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna lay right here on your chest," right?
They totally
Hmm.
Or
can.
he like
Mhm.
anchors to my side so he can be as close, like he's like basically touching
Yeah.
me right now on this
Mhm.
bench. He's yeah, having an animal is so important. It just is another form of support, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it
always
is.
say too, like cats are actually very healing with their purrs.
Mm-hmm.
I have chronic illness on top of like mental things. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, my cats have been very good into picking up when I'm having a flare or
Mm-hmm.
I'm really going through anything. And that's when they're extra clingy. They
Yep.
know. And then you have that purring happening. It's just, and that
Yep.
cat smell. Like, I
Yes.
like, gotta smell my cats.
Yep.
And it endorphins. It just helps so much. It's better than any kind of medication, really.
Completely agree. Yep. Love it.
No, and I know Justine, like you were saying when we saw your post that Justine
Yeah,
has you go ahead.
I wanted to bring that up, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I also have ARFID.
Love it. Don't love
So
it, but
yeah,
twins.
it's always really great to find somebody else that has it as well because like everybody always just assumes you're a picky eater,
Hmm.
Hmm.
They
and
think that it's not
they
a
don't get
real
it.
thing. Hmm.
Yeah, they just think, you just don't have like a great variety of what you want to eat, and they try to force feed you into things
Yep.
and stuff like that. I was just, what are you willing to share about your experience having?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually found out what ARFID was from a
Mhm.
YouTube video, and it wasn't even
Yeah,
about
yeah.
ARFID. It was about something else, and it mentioned ARFID. It was like,
Mhm.
this person in the story also suffered from ARFID, which is this. And I was like, pause.
Hmm.
What? what
Yeah.
is that? I looked it up and I was like, this is what I have. This is what I have. I know it for sure. Talked
Mhm.
with my doctor, talked with my therapist. That's when I got my dietitian and they were all like, yes, you definitely have ARFID, right?
Yeah.
And having ARFID for me, it goes back to when I was a young kid, right?
Yeah.
And I think back then I was a little bit more concerned about like contamination or like, the
Mhm.
Mhm.
germ aspect of ARFID, whereas
Yeah.
now it's a little bit more of the, the actual variety and stuff like that. But it's been something that's been it was game changing for me to finally have a diagnosis and understand what ARFID is. Because
Yeah.
like you said, it's so easy for people to dismiss you. Like, oh, you're just a picky eater. Oh,
Mhm.
if you just force yourself to eat this, you're gonna love it. Like, you're
Yes.
missing out on so much. And it's like that's just not how our brains work, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so it was very validating to find out that A, ARFID existed, and B, there were like resources for help, right? That's been something that I have been seeing the dietitian now for about 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years now. And so it's something that I'm still working through. I know
Uh,
like healing is never linear, right? I have good
mhm.
days and bad days, and days where I'm more willing to try something, and days where I'm like, no, I
Mhm.
gotta stick with my safe foods. But
Yeah.
it's been very empowering to know what it is. But
Yeah.
how is your experience with it? Is anything
Oh
I
my
saying
gosh.
relating at
So
all?
I got diagnosed with autism when I was 34.
Hmm.
And since that was like, just like you, discovering everything online,
Hmm.
and you'll see something and you're just like, oh my God,
Yep.
that's a
Mhm.
thing. That's totally a thing. And I remember because I was already in therapy at the time, that's what led me to get my diagnosis. And I kept bringing it up, like, yeah, no, I definitely have disordered eating. And she's like, yeah, yeah, you do.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's like, okay. And with me, it's like I go through bouts where everything tastes like cardboard. Just like
Mm.
everything's awful. And then I'll go in cycles. And then I'll like for me, what helps is rotating safe foods. So I'll
Hmm.
eat safe foods for a while and then I switch to a different type of safe food and kind of like
Yep.
back and forth.
Totally.
And something that like for me, especially the doctor had to make it really clear. It's just like what we tell parents with their babies and their children is fed is best.
Hmm.
Like it
Mhm.
does not have to be like you're eating tofu and salad. Like
Yep.
if that doesn't work for you, like what we care is that you're eating.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that really has helped me a lot because I always
Hmm.
had a lot of shame too, because built up, you're always
Yep.
told like something for me, especially in the autism community, we all kind of deal with this where people are like, you're eating like a child.
Hmm.
You eat like a kid. You like things
Yep.
that are like kid food. And I'm like, why do we need to frame it like that? It's
Yep.
just food, you know? So finding other people that have the same experiences has been so amazing because before that, like, I was just always made fun of.
Yep.
Like, and I was
Completely
just,
agree.
and like my dad's always makes fun of me when we would go to a restaurant, and he's just like, "Let me guess, you're getting Alfredo," like because like, yeah, like I'm
Yep.
gonna get the same thing if they have it, and
Hmm.
if there's not the same thing at a restaurant, I kind of panic because I'm
Yep.
like, if I don't eat it, then people are gonna judge me, and
Exactly. And
you know,
it's gonna lead us to more questions. Like, just because
yes,
I don't want to eat this, people are gonna think that I'm like starving myself, and that's just not the
yes,
situation we're in right now.
yeah, or
Yeah, I completely understand that experience of just like
it's
feeling
a
like
lot of
you were
anxiety.
trapped. Yeah, there's like an
Mhm.
anxiety cage around you of like I if I eat this, I'm not gonna like it, I'm not gonna feel good, whatever. But if I don't
Yes,
eat it, then I'm
yes,
gonna open up to all these questions and this
yes,
vulnerability
yes.
of so I completely understand
Mhm.
that.
Oh yeah, and then like the worrisome of like people are gonna think you're rude if you're not eating, and it's like,
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
or you're eating really weird because like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I have like weird little like eating rituals,
Yep.
and it's a whole can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been
Mhm.
so helpful finding other people that deal with it,
I
and then they
completely
get it.
agree.
Yeah, and it's so helpful to have that because again, like community, it
Mm-hmm.
helps to have
Mhm.
like-minded people going through these experiences so like, okay, I'm not just some alien with some really weird thing. There are other
Yep.
people like me.
Exactly. I felt the same way when I discovered, I don't know if you guys know the artist Brooke Alex. She's more of like a pop artist. She's down here in Nashville as well. She also has ARFID, and I saw her do
Oh,
a
okay.
video where she was like cutting up some like veggies and fruits, and she's like, I
Mhm.
hate these, but I'm gonna try them.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was
Yep.
very, very helpful to know. Like, not only is there another person that has this thing, there
Yeah.
another person that lives in Nashville that is a
Hmm.
musician that's
Yeah.
actively working for it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not alone in this, right? And seeing different
Yeah.
accounts on TikTok with stuff like that has been really helpful. There's a guy named Arfid Andrew. I think his username is Arfid Andrew. He hasn't posted in a while, I don't think, but another just like exposure therapy is very, very
Yeah.
helpful in that same way.
Yeah, and that kind
Absolutely.
of in the like even like Justine has helped me, but just this conversation has helped me. So like I've been more like if we're out at a party or my fiance loves D&D. That's like his thing. He loves to play Dungeons and Dragons all day. That's his
Hmm.
big biz like and sometimes like it's made me where if I see certain people in that setting where maybe they're not trying something we have out or maybe
Hmm.
instead of maybe going towards in just understanding like how can I be there for that person? How can I accommodate for that person?
Hmm.
And be that. And I know, Justine, you've been great with that, where there was somebody that was, I think they did, and they were talking about it. And
Mhm.
I was like, wow. And I was able to pick up on and be like, or maybe some other people might have been like, oh, they're not eating. They don't want pizza.
Hmm.
We have pizza out. Well, maybe like, again, pizza just they didn't want to have that, so I was
Yep.
able to kind of understand that. So I think more so like this conversation is going to help someone I think out there understand because I don't have that. So for me to hear that and see like the anxiety it can cause and
Hmm.
that's your mental
Yeah.
health and like how can I be there for someone if I'm out at a party or out to dinner with someone and kind of be there to kind of ease that anxiety. So I appreciate you both like being so honest with that.
Of course. Yeah,
Mhm.
I would say for anyone listening or anyone that's wanting to be more like gentle with that kind of thing, the best way to do it is not in front of everyone. The
Hmm.
Yes.
last thing we want is at the
Yeah.
table, everyone's head to turn and look at you as to why you're
Everybody
not eating
talking about it.
something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So the best way to do it is you can check in with someone like, hey, are you okay? Do you need any food? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. If they say no, take that as a sign to step
Mhm.
back, right?
Respect
Yeah.
the no.
Exactly.
Because exactly, it's consent. We can go back to consent
Yeah.
and safe
Yes.
tracks.
Hmm.
But yes,
Yeah.
the last thing we want is someone to kind of, have all eyes on us, attention drawn to us. That's just it makes everything worse. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that up, Lisa. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so important. And obviously like, where we found the post that with Arfred and everything was Black
Mhm.
Hole. And
Yes.
I it has been out. We have to talk about this because one, you've said it was like your favorite song you've ever
Hmm.
wrote. And I can sense that when I hear that. I mean, nothing against, I mean, to me, all your songs, I hum them and Black Hole's been stuck in my head since it's out. But for you, how does that feel that this is now out for all of us to consume?
It's so special. So the I love sci-fi so much. I
Hmm.
love outer space. I love aliens. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so when I was writing this next album that's going to be coming out next year, which I'm very excited for, I wanted all the songs to be about me in some way, my experience in life, my identity, anything like that, right? And so as we were kind of working through the tracks, I had the idea to write a song called Black Hole and relate it to like the depression and anxiety feelings like holding you down and pulling you away from people, right? And so I went into a session with some of my very good friends. One of them is Matthew, who is on the Fortnite cover that I do. And then a few other friends and a producer. We got together and I told them that idea. I was like, hey, I really like the idea of equating Black Hole to this. And one of the writers in the room was like, I just can't climb out this black. And I was like, that's it. That's it. Let's go. And we
Yeah.
worked off of that and wrote the whole song in maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that. And immediately I knew it was special. Immediately, like I felt such a strong bond to the song, not only because it has the imagery of sci-fi and outer space that I love, but I felt like it was like an anthem of like kind of like getting all the bad out, right? Like
Mhm.
I feel like I'm being sucked down with this stuff. I'm gonna just kind of throw it out, right? Get it all out there. And I think it is, like we said, it's my favorite song I've ever made,
Mhm.
and I have seen a lot of positive reaction to it, and that's been really special to me as well. But I'm really excited as it's kind of like launching us into this full album, right? It was the third single
Mhm.
from the album, but that song, I feel like in terms of genre and production style and all of that, I feel like that song really encapsulates what this whole project is going to look like. So I just really couldn't be happier that it's out. I'm I'm gonna be so annoying on the internet, just posting nonstop videos of it until I feel like I don't have anything else to say. But I just love the song so much, and I love the people that I was able to make it with. I really feel like it's the new Sad Today in a way, right? It's not
Hmm.
not gonna be sad today, but it's the new anthemic kind of thing. I've played it live now at one show, and people loved it. It had such a great response and reaction. So I'm just really excited it's finally out. We wrote it in March, and as soon as we wrote it, I was like, how can I get this out as fast as I possibly
Hmm.
can, right?
Oh.
But yeah,
Oh, I bet. Like even me hearing it, like I remember immediately I was like, it's like stuck in my head to where I want to listen to it. I can resonate so much. We all can resonate, and whether we obviously, what you wrote it about and what you wanted to get out of it is different than like us as the listener, but we can still resonate. And that's like so
hmm
cool about music is like I am like, no, this is just I love this song. Like I know everyone has their
Thank you
song of
so
the
much.
summer. Right now, Black Hole is my song of the summer. I know
I
people
love
want it,
it.
like it's just so and I love Aliens too. Aliens,
hmm
outer space.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes, anything about it, I am all for it. So like
Yep.
those two things, I'm in.
Love it. Yeah, I'm always asking like, y'all give me your like sci-fi TV recs and movie recs because I've seen all of them on Netflix pretty much.
Right.
So it's like I need to start branching out. But yeah, thanks for the kind words. I'm really really glad that Black Hole is out. It just feel like it's such a step up honestly in terms of my like my music, my musicianship and my artistry and
Mhm.
all of that.
Yeah, and you can definitely like it's like I feel like that is just me like watching it from afar. It's like to me like the imagery and your reels and everything you have. It's like yeah, that's Jack the Underdog. I can see him. I can see him in this.
Love it.
As if you were to show it someone. And so obviously you kind of just said that whatever we can talk about. Yeah, obviously
hmm
there is a new record coming, and
Yes.
um, what are you most looking forward to get to have that out there next year?
So I think what's really cool is that when I put out the last album, Yesterday Forever, and then I did the deluxe of Saturday Forever, Yesterday Forever, and Happy Saturday, those two albums felt like they were very cohesive to me. Those two albums felt like
Mhm.
they were like two parts of a whole. And so then when I started making the new music, I was like, I don't want to be the artist that puts out the same song 100 times. I have
Right.
no desire to do that, right? So it's like, let's get weird with it, right? I had seen a lot of popular music from last year into this year. That's what's weird. Things like even Chappell Roan's production. She's got some really
Hmm.
interesting stuff in her music.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, Bring
Mhm.
Me the Horizon, Charlie
Yes.
XCX. All of these people were releasing music that I was like resonating so much with. My favorite albums of last year were Brat by Charlie XCX
Mhm.
and
Yes.
Posthuman Next Gen by Bring Me the
Yes.
Horizon. My
Hmm.
two
Mhm.
favorite albums of like for the year by a long shot.
Yep.
And so I was like, let's go ahead and morph what Jack the Underdog is into mixing in these new sounds that I'm falling in love with. The hyper pop, the little bit heavier
Mhm.
metalcore, easycore, all of that kind of stuff. And so I always say the new record is simultaneously the most poppy and the heaviest project I've done. I think Substance is kind of a good even Substance or Black Hole would kind of be a good example of there's really poppy moments, there's also really heavy moments. And
Yeah.
so I think it's really cool to kind of play with that. The project, I can't say the name yet, which
Sure.
I am excited to unveil it. But the whole project is kind of like the dichotomy of who we are and who we want to be kind of thing. And it's what can I say without giving away too much? I would say it is a really big step up in terms of my songwriting and everything. I'm being really picky with the songs and the certain sounds and production that's getting put into the songs. There's been at least I can check my reject folder on here. There's been at least 18 songs that just were like, nope, cut, not good enough.
Hmm.
But I have a vault of over 100 songs of just songs I've written that, some of them are for me, some are for other people. But this new project is just, it's what I really wanted to create. It's not really what's, I would say, it's not necessarily expected, but that's
Hmm.
kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to find that tension between like who Jack the Underdog is and kind of the new sounds I want to bring in, and almost like kind of reintroduce myself out to the world. So I've got a bunch of singles coming. What is July 15th right now? We're working on the song for August right now. We got the new mix for it, actually earlier today when I was at work. But we're going to be dropping a bunch of those singles and we're going to be doing the full album at, I'll say early next year. So that gives you a little bit of a hint.
There we go.
But I think yeah, I wrote a whole manifesto for the project. I was like, this is what I want it to be, this is what I want to exhibit, this is kind of all of that. And it felt really good to put all those ideas in one spot. It felt really like it had a direction, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't just like I'm writing songs and throwing stuff at the wall until I like it. It's like no, there's very, very clear direction there. And so that's been really fun to kind of put together. I'm working with a couple people on the visuals as well. So I have a team that's kind of helping. Very, very still informal, independence, all of that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I would say it mixes what Jack the Underdog sounds like with Brat and the Bring Me the Horizon album from last year.
Oh,
So a
I'm
lot of
in. I'm
exciting
in.
things, a lot of genre blending, all of
Oh,
that.
I'm in. I love that. I love that as an artist when you can't put them in a box or you can't say like, all right, this is their genre. This is their I love artists like that because those are the ones I gravitate towards. Like I
Hmm.
loved what Bring Me did. I
Hmm.
loved that record. And I know some people did or did not. I thought it was like so great and so just like
Mhm.
what I wanted to hear from them. I didn't want to hear
Exactly.
what we've already heard before. I
Yeah.
love that. So that just got
Exactly.
me like so excited because I know Justine, you're the Brat fan. You love Brat, Charlie.
I'm
We're
so
Charlie,
excited
yeah.
because I love both those albums. I'm like, this is gonna be so good. Can't
I
wait to
love
hear
it.
it.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited for y'all to hear it.
All right.
I'll probably link you guys I'll leak you guys a few songs so you guys
Oh
can
my
hear some stuff
gosh.
early.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. But I mean, this has been so great, Jack. I really appreciate everything you've said today. And I knew, again, this helped my Monday or the most Monday of all Tuesdays today so
Yep.
much. And I truly appreciate like everything you said in this today. And I think like I know someone will feel less alone because of it.
Really hope so. And I also want to thank you guys for doing what you do. This is a really, really special show, and I'm really honored that y'all asked me to be a part of it. So thank you for the kind words today and what you're doing in the community. All of this stuff matters. It all works together, you know?
And all right, guys, that was our conversation with Jack. Again, I cannot thank him enough for his time. And this one was definitely worth the wait. If you guys knew how long we were planning on this conversation, you would think, oh my God. But again, it was no fault of anybody's. I'm going to blame social media, but I'm so happy to finally have this conversation with Jack out for all you guys. One of my favorite ones for sure. I would love for you to go support Jack and Safe Tracks. All links below for that. Please go do that. As for our show, we will be back next week with a brand new episode. You don't want to miss that one. You don't want to miss any of them, but you definitely don't want to miss that one coming up. So I want to send you over to that, as well as if you would like to support our independent podcast, all you have to do is leave a positive rating and review and follow and subscribe to the show. It means a lot to Justine and I. It helps all of us. So I would love for you to do that if you have not already. If you have, you're amazing. You're ahead of the game. And also, this show is soon to be part of the Never a Phase Network. If you don't know what that is, if you've been seeing little snippets around TikTok or Instagram, it's basically a collective of creators keeping the spirit of the scene alive. Everything you love about it, from people that know the scene on the ins and outs, love it just like you. You're gonna love this thing. It's really, really cool, and I'm so glad that this show will be a part of that. If you want to go check it out and the shows, you can go over to neveraphasenetwork.com and you can follow the TikTok and Instagram at Never a Phase Network. You don't want to miss this. I'm giving you guys the goods early, so head on over there. All links below for that. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.